Yeah, yeah. It's for the love of the game. Taking them all to the hole, playing for the honor road, and we running suicides. No squad will see us fold. Throw me in assist.
Welcome to another episode of For the Love of the Game. This week is just me and my brother, Coach David Fowler, and we're going to go and share with you a wonderful event that happened here in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And my brother, Coach Fowler, once again, you did it again. You and Miss Tisha you did it again. You pulled off another beautiful basketball event, another tourney. You've always been you've always been organized. I've never seen any drama. Well, excuse me. I have seen some drama, but it was nothing having to do with how y'all were holding the event. It was always like inner squad or inner team dramas that popped off. Nothing to do with you and Miss Tisha. So how was this weekend, and how did everything go, and how did everything flow, and how is everything going with the tournament world?
Yeah, yeah. It's for the love of the game. Taking them all to the hole, playing for the honor road, and we running suicides. No squad will see us fold. Throw me in assist, you can miss me with the miss. Cross them like I'm holy, dunking on them like I'm pissed. Taking it from 3 to pain, watch me switch lanes. It's the next gen.
The weekend went well, man. We try to put as much work in before the event, so the event can just work itself out. So again, it did it. I'm not even sure if everybody knew or people recognized. I had to cut out halfway through the tournament, and had somebody else step in to finish the tournament for me because I had to head to Pennsylvania because Italy was playing up there. But it goes back to just trusting the work that I put in before the tournament, so that I know that the tournament basically is going to run itself on the day of.
Okay. Now, how'd you get the name Pink Ribbon Classic? Where'd that come from?
So, I mean, anybody that knows your future basketball knows that we're always looking for ways to give back. We don't want anybody to ever, get the idea that we're a money grab, because we do care about the community. We do care about various causes. So if you look at our tournament schedule, quite a few of them, are benefit tournaments. And so we got it for breast cancer awareness. And this one we've been wanting to put on for a couple of years, just finding a new place for it. And we typically try to stick to the awareness month, but we don't host tournaments in the fall like that. So we went ahead and threw it in, and Pink Ribbon goes well with Valentine's Day and all of that. So we put it as close to our Valentine's Day tournament as we could. But that's where it is basically. I mean, we try to do as much as we can to give back, and it's a breast cancer awareness tournament.
Okay, all right.
It's for the love of the game. Taking them all to the hole, playing for the honor road, and we running suicides. No squad.
Now, I saw you had some help. Was that your auntie there helping you all out? That was after, because I know you had to leave early. Was that your auntie helping out, or who was that wonderful lady you had helping out there?
That was Anthony Evans' wife.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so Anthony's doing the officiating, and his wife helps out at the table sometimes. So, but she's clutch, man. She knows the business. Anthony kind of ran some tournaments, back in the day. So she's been around basketball. I mean, obviously Anthony's been an official forever. Their children played basketball, so she knows the game. She knows the business, and so she's been able to just kind of step in and really take some, pressure off of Tisha now that we're growing a little bit, and we're having more teams, and when we expand to different venues and whatnot, where we have 2 or 3 venues on the same day. And last year we actually had tournaments in Pennsylvania and West Virginia and Virginia all at the same time. So we were able to trust her to kind of hold it down while we were gone. But she's a big help, man.
Now, something happened and it had nothing to do with you. And trust me, I'm not trying. Like the brother that this happened to, I hugged him up before before he left. So I don't want to ever come off like I'm being two-faced or something like that. But I did notice there was one team where they got there a little late. And only reason why I mentioned that is because that's the reason why I have never tried to host a tournament. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I would spaz the heck out if I had a team or two teams that just didn't show up or if they were really late. So what do you do in those situations? And then how long do you give somebody? And the person, I mean, because it's not important who did it, but I'm just because I was thinking about when I saw them late, I was thinking about you. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
Yeah.
like, man, I was thinking about, man, Fowler already got all this stuff going on today. This not the
Too
day.
early in the morning for this.
I was like, I mean, it had nothing to do with me because my girl wasn't playing them, but I was just like, wow, and I did say to myself, that's why I don't want to host no tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know some people and I got the money, but that kind of headache is the reason why I don't want to host a tournament. So what's your plan when that happens, and what do you do, and like what are your thoughts what's running through your mind when that happens?
Again, man, another thing that you kind of do beforehand. I mean, a good tournament director, thinks of the worst. What's the worst that can happen, and you kind of have a plan in place for any of that stuff. If teams don't show up, I always have a plan in place of who can. You kind of one know the teams you're dealing with, and I try not to deal with teams that might put me in a tough spot. Um, I also never like a lot of tournaments will allow people to pay on the day of, like when they get there, cut them a check or whatever. I mean, I can't do that. I mean, I've done that one time, and I got burnt left and right with people because there's no commitment at that point, but with all of the teams paying ahead of time, um, I've been lucky and blessed not to have to worry too much about people not showing up. But if it's ever a situation where they don't show up, I always have a plan in place, for who can replace them. Can we get somebody with an extra game? And I have a couple teams that I trust that, will step in for me and help me out, where I don't have to change the schedule around too much because you start doing that to other people, and people start getting frustrated. So I mean, I always kind of have a plan in place about what may happen. Team showing up late. I mean, game time is forfeit time. With this particular team, it wasn't the team. The team was there on time. It was the coach, and the coach had the uniforms.
Oh wow.
So it was really just the coach, one other player that I guess the coach had to go pick up, and then the uniforms that he had. So they just were there. They didn't have anything to play in. So I got with the referees, worked it out where I think the parents were like, we just don't want to forfeit. We want to start on time. There was another parent that was ready to step in to help coach until the coach got there. So I worked with them, and they were able to go over to our t-shirt guy and buy a couple of t-shirts the same color, throw some tape on the back, and got the game going on time where they didn't have to forfeit, and were able to finish that game out until their uniforms got there. So I mean, it worked out. They had some really really solid parents, some proactive parents that were committed to it. So it worked out for their team.
Every week, we feature an in-game basketball clip of a female baller. We take clips from AAU, public, or private schools, wherever the hoopers are.
Send your basketball clips to AA Freshword on Instagram and Tony Speaks on Facebook, or you can leave your links in the comments of our YouTube page. That's it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all can do.
Now, when it comes to tournaments, I mean, now you're kind of established. You've been doing this. I don't know how long. I've seen you doing it for 4 years. So, and you've always, been squared away. And I know you've been doing it way before then. Um, so now you're already known. When you first got started, how did you get the word out to have your first tournament?
So I've actually like I ran my first tournament when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
Um, but I haven't been doing it consistently every year.
Right.
I was coaching at the time, and so I put a tournament together when I was 17. And then listen, it's nothing like what I put together now. I'm not gonna blow it up like this was the greatest tournament in the world, man. It was a very small tournament in comparison to what we do now. But either way, I mean, we still put the tournament together. It was a nice tournament back then. Consistently now, we've probably been going, for about 12 years. And it started when we did it when we started doing it 12 years ago. I still had our AAU program, so it started. It was really a fundraiser, for the program when we would do the tournaments, and then we did the hooping for autism, and that was kind of our thing. And it was a fundraiser as well. So we had hooping for autism, and then we started doing the hooping for a cause, which is basically where teams can pick what they want to play for. We have autism, that tournament strictly autism. We're benefiting them. We're contributing to autism research and autism programs in Virginia. But then hooping for a cause is teams come and they pick what they play for, and then the winning team of each division, we contribute to their cause. So those are our two long-standing, longest tournaments that we've been hosting from the beginning. And because we were an AAU team, we were able to draw other AAU teams. And when you have a nice facility, I mean, when we started doing it here in Virginia, we were doing over in Harrisonburg. Horizons, I don't even think was around yet. So we were at EMU, and people were beating down the door to play at EMU. I mean, we sold all of our turn. We were selling them out because it was a place that you get to play on a college campus. I don't even think JMU was holding tournaments at that time, and so people wanted to play at EMU, and so between us and having connects with teams that we knew because we were playing as well, and then people just finding us because it was at EMU and they wanted to play at EMU. Um, you know, Teams were flocking in the door, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. EMU. Nadia, ironically, Nadia asked me as we were driving up. She said, "Daddy, what's your favorite tournament?" And I said, when Fowler hosts EMU, or I will say y'all have one classy competition, which is that Maryland Flames. They host a quality, like
Yeah.
they have, everything's really classy and quality when you go to the Maryland Flames up there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But those are my two favorite. But EMU especially, I just like the way the seats are. I just like the way
Uh,
the layout is. You know what
get
I'm
them single
saying?
seats. You don't have to sit in bleacher style seats. You can sit in
Yeah,
those
yeah,
single seats.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm watching my kid play a D3 college game. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
So I really like EMU as well. So I also noticed you have a great new professional team that really adds a real classy. They add a real classy little extra to your tournaments. I see you have your brand new media team.
yep.
So what's their name, and how can people find them, and how did that connection happen?
So we've been trying to figure out how to get some kind of media going in our tournaments for a couple of years now. I reached out a couple of years ago to a group that I had saw at a combine that Italy had went to, that did commentators. They were kids, but they were commentators. They would broadcast the game live, and the kid and they were funny. I mean, it was entertaining to listen to. Uh, they weren't the business, but I guess the people who ran the business used the kids to actually do the commentary. Um, but they were recorded live, and so we were talking about doing them. And I mean, for one court, it was kind of ridiculous. It was I ain't gonna say ridiculous because everybody has their worth, but it was outside of our budget. And so we ended up not being able to do that. So I reached out to a couple media people locally in the Harrisonburg area, and could never get them locked in. They were always busy, always had other stuff going on, couldn't get them in. So through Jacob Crane, who runs Strive for Perfection, um, and the All Star Weekend and the Elite 50/50, and he has his own tournaments as well over in the Richmond area. I saw some of the media stuff that was going on, and I kind of just touched base with him, and me and he and I are going to do some partnership stuff in the future. Um, but when we met up, he brought his media guy with him so I could meet him. and it ended up being Trey with Prospect Playground, and it's also tied in with SW3. And Travis is the one who kind of heads SW3, and that SW3 means some will, some won't. So what? Uh, and and I thought that was pretty clever, man, because I mean that's a lot that has to do. I mean, I feel like that with our tournaments as well. Some will, some won't. So what? The show goes on. People pick, big shots. People pick phenom. People pick hoop group. People pick all these other things all the time. But some will, some won't. So what? That doesn't stop what we do. So I thought it actually meshed well with our organization, with your future basketball. We had a nice conversation, and we talked about him coming in and doing an event, and that was the New Year tip off at JMU in January. And man, that was just a beautiful piece to what we were trying to do, and we were really just going to get some some clips and some things together and try to use that in the future. But it went so well, and the response, and the feedback we got from it was so good that it was like, man, we need to make you guys the official media team of your future basketball. Had a couple meetings and locked it in, and so now Prospect Playground and SW3 are the official media team of our official media team of your future basketball.
They're really squared away and they do a great job and they add a lot. So
Phenomenal piece.
what's that, bro?
They provide a phenomenal piece to what we're doing,
Yes,
man. They do great work.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe for the love of the game with Tony and Davis.
Now, I feel dumb asking this question because last Saturday was so chilled and everybody was in such a positive mood. And but we know tournaments aren't always like that. And as a guy who has to, put out the money for all of this, my question is it just because it's in Harrisonburg you don't really have to worry about it, or have you ever thought about providing security, or because I know Saturday was so chill and like everybody was like a lot of grandpas and grandmas. I mean, it was like it was really chill. Like I mean, it was the very laid back. But we know all tournaments don't have that flavor.
Yeah.
And what is your thought about tournaments providing like a popo to walk through, or what is your thought on that? When have you tried to do that, or have you ever tried to do that? You've been doing it for 12 years consistently. What's your thoughts on that?
So have I thought about it? Yes. I mean, you obviously always want to prepare for the worst. That's what I said earlier, is that we always try to think of what's the worst that could happen and be prepared in case it does. But at the same time, when you start adding components like that, you have to start raising prices.
Right.
And I don't want to put a price on safety. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, one thing I can always look at is I've gotten very familiar with the teams that come to Harrisonburg.
Right.
And when I look at it, when I look at the lineup of teams that are going to be there, I'm 99% positive that I could pick out who's going to give us some problems and who's not. Um, and so um, there were none on the list this week that I felt uncomfortable with at all. I mean, I felt pretty confident that we were going to have a pretty solid tournament, that we weren't going to have any drama. Um, so, I mean, again, yes, you think about it, but and I do believe that when we're hosting, in some places they actually require you to do it. I think Memphis is requiring us to do it this year. I mean, when you get 16 courts, which is going to be, well over 100 teams, um, you gotta. I mean, at some point, you kind of have to do that. But again, we also the type of events that we provide. I mean, I say it all the time is, we're selling you an experience. We're not a money grab. We're not here just trying to, take all your money and you're on your own once you get here. I mean, we really are trying to sell an experience. We're trying to provide you with when you walk away, we want you to feel like you got your money's worth. We want you to feel like, this was the best tournament that we've ever attended. We got all of the perks and it didn't break the bank. I mean, that's our goal at the end of the day. And I feel like when people are there, they don't have to spend. I went to York, Pennsylvania this past weekend for the Made Hoops Championships. Um, Thought I was going to get 2 games. The girls ended up playing four. Were supposed to play 4 games. Thought I was going to get 2 games in, but I only got one on Saturday because they canceled the 8 o'clock game on Sunday morning because of the weather. But I paid $150 for 3 people: my wife, my son, and myself. Um, and it was 149 something. You know, when you're paying that, you walk in, you already kind of got a little tension to yourself. You're like, the expectation is high here, and then if they don't deliver, we're gonna flip some tables. you know, but I will say that Made Hoops don't deliver. They don't. I mean, they have the worst officials I've probably seen in any of the events that we've been to. They have nothing extra, no extra perks. They do have media people, but there's no, there's a few teams they cover, and it's the same ones you see every weekend. So and Boo Williams is one of them. So I'm not gonna say that Boo Williams is not getting covered, but it's Boo Williams every weekend,
Right,
and
right, right, right.
so I mean, it's not everybody. They don't cover the whole tournament. They just cover a few, but yeah. So they don't deliver, and so you walk away. You don't feel like you got this great experience. You don't feel like you got what you paid for. I don't feel like I got what I paid for. I paid $150 for 1 game. So I mean, for our events, I want you to walk away feeling like for your $25 that you paid to get in, that you feel good about what you got, what your kids got. They get excited over the media stuff. They get, we have T-shirts, we have, all kind of things going on. I mean, it's a whole experience. It's not just basketball, and it's fun. I mean, I feel like our referees are pretty solid. I mean, I feel like we get the best ones that we can get for the weekend. Some don't agree, but if they had to handpick who they got, they'd probably pick a few here or there that wasn't the greatest either.
Right.
But I feel like the experience that we provide also helps with the atmosphere and with the climate of how the event goes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think as well, people have to have enough experience and enough time in the game to really appreciate what they have. You know what I'm saying? Until you've been around a while. um, I heard one grandpa make a complaint, behind me on Saturday about the money. And in my mind, I was like, you haven't been around a while, have you? You know what I'm
No.
saying? Like you don't know. I said, because if you think, if you complain about that little bit of money, then wait till you go up north. Wait till your baby goes up north, and you have to go and pay $150 for 1 game.
Mhm.
You're gonna really. But I ain't say now. That's one time I did not defend you, Coach Fowler, because I knew that grandpa he has to just experience it.
Yeah, there was nothing you were gonna say, man. I had a guy that Saturday morning that came through and tried to hand like the VHSL pass where you get in all the games for free, the VHSL games, and he tried to hand Tisha that pass,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, "This doesn't work here," and he's like, "It works everywhere I go." And I was like, but it doesn't work at AAU tournament. Yes, it does. It works everywhere I go, everywhere I've been. They've let me in free. I said, because you've probably been to Scholastic events. You haven't been to an AAU. Yes, I have. I come to events all the time. I'm at games every day of the week. All right, man, but you got paid today. I'm sorry. He was gonna argue till the wheels fell off, man. I mean, and then he came back later and he said, "I just want to let you know that it has always worked everywhere I've went. You're wrong." And but the wife came back and apologized to Tisha probably 5 or 6 times on Saturday because she got it. He didn't, but she got it.
Right,
So,
right, right.
yeah, it's not gonna be everybody. You do get people who aren't experienced. $25 does seem like a lot, but when you think of it, like it's if you break it down to 3 games and you look at what it costs to get into one high school game,
Right.
it's very similar. But it's more than 3 games because I don't know if you're going to stay there and watch all 41 today or if you're just going to watch, one, or you're going to watch two or three. I mean, I don't know what you're going to watch. You may have two kids, on two different teams, and you're getting a deal, because you're getting 6 games maybe as opposed to somebody else getting three. So, when I start charging made hoops and big shots prices, then I'll listen to some of that nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
And
Now,
trust me, I'll never charge that much, man. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I wouldn't.
well, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, because I always like to look at what the competition is charging. Everything's relative. Everything's relative,
Yeah.
But now, quick question: if a bracket was a spade game, amen. Now I don't for anyone who plays spades. You count your books and then you count a possible.
Mhm.
So like so when you got 4 books, you bet on 4 books or 5 books or
Yeah.
Boston or whatever else. How many books do you have to have before you say this bracket is a go, like on a Wednesday or a Thursday? Like how many teams do you feel comfortable and then do you even count some teams as a possible, where you don't know if they're gonna make it or not?
So I'll listen. I'll never get to the point where I stress myself out uh, on the week of. If I don't have it by that Saturday, I'm letting them. One, I'm not handcuffing teams to my tournament until the last minute because then they can't get in other tournaments.
Right.
So I'm always to the point where if it's down to Saturday, at the latest, maybe Sunday if I have a possible. Uh,
Okay. Right.
uh, I'll hold on to the bracket, until that Sunday. But I never ever hold teams in my tournament if I don't feel like it's gonna make. I've never had to cancel a whole tournament like that, but I have, I've had to cancel divisions here or there. But my thing is, if I can combine the division to the point where they may play some cross division games in pool play, but then in bracket they can go back and play their own age group, even if it's only one game that's a championship game. I think your daughter was that way, even though they beat all the older teams too. I think your daughter's team this weekend they played some cross division games with sixth graders, but then they played their fifth grade championship. So
Right.
so it was narrowed down to where they didn't have to compete with the sixth graders um, to win the sixth grade championship. They could win the fifth grade championship. So we do that sometimes as well. It costs us a couple extra games, but at the same time, again, I'm selling an experience. I want people to be able to play their own age groups, be able to compete, be able to have an opportunity to win a championship in their age group. So we do that a lot of times as well. If the division isn't going to make, we'll have them play cross division games and then go back into bracket play, playing their own age group just for brackets. So usually by usually I kind of know I send out the first welcome email typically Wednesday or Thursday the week before. So I don't even send it out the week of. Like the week before, I'll send out the welcome email to all the coaches that have already registered and locked themselves in so that they can go ahead and start preparing, start getting their parents some information, and know kind of what's going on. I stay in communication with the teams that are the possibles, yeah, and say, hey, this is what we have right here. This is what we're doing. And I want everybody to feel like I've communicated with them, and not feel like I'm trying to, pull any slick stuff or anything like that. So I mean, it's typically, a week in advance you'll start getting some information, and we start looking at who we need to cut out, or who we need to combine or whatever the situation is.
Okay. 2 more questions before we close everything now, or 2 questions that I have. One is now that you have that Boo Williams connection, any chance of seeing Boo out there in Harrisonburg anytime soon?
So March 14th, yeah, you'll see Boo. You'll see our girls, but I think they're going to be working it as a fundraiser.
Oh,
So they may be there. So we're still talking about it. We're trying to get some fundraiser ideas. They asked about that. A lot of the parents are really interested in doing it. It's a three facility tournament, so we are going to need some extra help. Um, but yeah, they've also talked about attending some tournaments and trying to decide if they want to play an age group or want to play up. But we're getting the schedule together as far as that goes. Now, as far as other teams, I'm not sure yet. But I'm sure if one team comes that'll open up the door for other teams. So we could. We've started getting team loaded. We started getting Fairfax Stars. We've started getting some other teams, coming in. So I don't see why not for Boo Williams. I mean, it's good competition. We're not a pushover. So uh, depending on which tournament you come to, you could come and get beat. So I'm just keeping it real. I mean, Boo Williams is not unbeatable. I've seen him lose.
Right.
So I mean, there's teams that um, have come to our tournament that play in some of the tournaments that we've been going to these last couple months. Um, I mean, at any given day, you can come to our tournament and you can get beat because we do have competition for everybody.
Well, I'll tell you this: a team that really got my eyes open. That really made me like ooh. I want to. Matter of fact, I want to see them play MKW Elite. I want to see Team Loaded. I want to see Milan's team, Milan and Corinne, and there's a girl that Courtney played with in Caroline High School. Is she's new to AAU, but she's pretty good. She's really good. Is Shyla, Shyla
Mhm.
Tiller. So now she's on Team Loaded as well, and
Yeah.
I want to see that Team Loaded. I'll tell you this. I pay $40 to go see a tournament with MKW Elite, Team Loaded, and Boo. And that, I would love, I really would I would really want to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because that Team Loaded really had me make, my eyebrows went up. I was like, whoa, look, because
Yeah.
they've accumulated a lot of good little players over there. Good job there, Coach Tweedy.
Right.
Friend of the show. Good job there. Was that impressive to you as well, Coach Fowler?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a team that also is interested in Italy, and so it's kind of like when you watch them do what they did, and Italy and Milan are best friends. It's kind of like, man, it makes you think. But no, they are very impressive, man. They are on a shoe circuit. So I mean, and they were at our tournament. So, any of the other circuit teams that think that our tournament isn't for them, I mean, they came. Why not you? Why not? But yes, I agree, man. They were very impressive. They got off to a slow start in that first game. I will say, I was like, man, this team's keeping up with them. They ended up winning the game by 10. Came back and avenged that game though, and blew them out the next time they played them. But yeah, that very impressive. But I knew that anyway. I mean, I knew the makeup of that team, and then Tweety and Virgil, man, they very good coaches that do a good job. And just from the practices that we went to, before the season and all that, I knew that team was going to be solid anyway. I mean, the way they practice and the way they prepare is better than most. I mean, that's not your typical AAU practice. I'll just say that the way they prepare is different. So I wasn't surprised that they were the level that they were when they showed up.
That's great. That's great. Now, Coach Fowler, what is the next Your Future Basketball tournament, and what's the name of it? When's the date, and what's the theme of the? Because you're always really good at picking themes, and you're really good at picking themes and having little titles for it and everything. So, what's the next tournament? What's the theme of it, and I always like hearing about it.
So I am like a history nerd, and I like geography and things like that. So I always look into where I'm going to be, and like for Memphis, I mean, not everybody knows it's called Bluff City. But so we call that Bluff City Round Ball Classic. Things like that, just nerdy stuff. But for this one, it's just simple. I mean, it's the Shamrock Showcase. It's right before St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
I think the first year that we ran it, it might have fell on St. Patrick's Day. And so we called it the Shamrock Showcase. This is the 5th year of it. And from the first year to where I thought I was going to have to cancel it, um, we were there was this is where I got the idea to host it at JMU. The first year we were holding the Shamrock Showcase, somebody was trying to hold a tournament at JMU called the Shamrock Showdown,
Mm.
and we put them out of business. Man, they didn't even hold their tournament; they canceled.
Oh wow.
And I was like, man, I would love to have JMU. I don't think I would ever have to cancel if I got JMU. And so they end up canceling. So long story short, after the tournament, I reached out to JMU, said, hey, man, I'd love to work with you guys exclusively. I don't think I would have a problem filling up a tournament. And so that's how our relationship began. And it started with the Shamrock Showcase. So, so this has turned out to be one of our biggest tournaments in Harrisonburg. Actually, the biggest tournament in Harrisonburg. We started turning people away the first year. Ended up picking up Spotswood High School, so we'd have an additional 3 courts. And then from there we were EMU and Horizons. And then last year we didn't have EMU, but we had Horizons and JMU, and that one almost sold out. So this year we said, we did have to. That one actually it didn't sell out, but a lot of the divisions sold out. So we had to get a third gym this year. So this year we have JMU, EMU, and Horizons, and it's the 5th annual YFB Shamrock Showcase, March 14th. And so it'll be at all 3 facilities. So we're taking over Harrisonburg, and gonna run that one, and still some room. It is filling up, though. I will say that I'm very impressed at how quickly it's filling up this year, even with 3 facilities. I haven't tracked the number of games that we've already come to, but it does look like I'm gonna have to start doing that soon to start, hey, narrowing down divisions and saying, hey, we might have to close some here or there because we are getting to those numbers. I'm gonna send out our little text promotion tomorrow, as well as an email this week, and letting everybody know that we are getting close to filling up. So better get in if you want to get in, because this one's going to be a good one. We'll have the same media. We'll have all of that. Actually, EMU's women's basketball team is going to be involved over at EMU. Jenny Posey will be around, and their women's basketball team will be helping with the scores tables and whatnot. So they'll be involved in this one as well. But it's going to be a big one, it always is, and I don't expect anything different this year. So excited to see how it turns out.
Okay. Well, I when I was a kid, I would listen a little too much to like someone like Coach John Wooden, who didn't believe in celebration.
Mm.
And now that I get older, even though I love John Wooden, I disagree with him on celebrate. When something good happens, as I get older, something good happens, all that training that my kids do and all the work when you put something in, you need to celebrate and stop and celebrate and say, hey, did a good job,
Yeah.
So I'm glad we were able to take this podcast and just stop and celebrate, because I'll say this. All tournaments aren't like what we just had with the Pink Ribbon Classic. So, I just want to, I wanted to go and give you a salute and just, just say thank you for a great time. My kids had a time to remember, even though I had to fuss at my baby a little bit because of her play. But I wait till the van, I fuss at her in the van,
Yeah.
But she still was able to walk away with a medal, and she played good defense. I just had to fuss about something else. But I'll say it. I mean, she's only 4th grade. She is hesitating and not getting her shot off. So so when her mama goes and has her shooting 250 makes, you know what I'm saying, and a day, 6 days a week, and then we go to a game and you don't shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, and then
I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
and then, matter of fact, you find out that the coach was telling you to shoot, and you still didn't shoot. Like that's that. So I had to fuss a little bit in the I had to fuss a little bit, and I was telling her we just got to work on the quick release in the practices. You know what I mean? You need to
Yeah.
work, because if you're taking forever on the wind up in your practice, then it's going to be harder to get it off in the game because you're lollygagging and shooting it all you got to play at game speed. And and I'll share this for any other dad, because for a dad who might be 3 years behind, when you start training your kids, you got to train them at game speed, and you got to push them to train at game speed, because if not, if they just do that little lazy layup in daggone training, yeah, they made it, but then if it's not at game speed, then it's not going to work in the game, So I had to fuss a little bit about that, and don't get me wrong, we've learned to do that to them. However, uh, kids can give you a hard time. And, when you're fussing at them in practice about doing the game speed. So the reason why I was fussing, I was like, now do you see why I'm fussing? Because you can't get your shot off because you are moving so slow in practice. So I don't want to hear you fussing with mama about mama, you got to move,
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I mean, she still played defense, and they still got the W, and I guess it was really good as well because all the games all the games that we played were pretty close.
Hmm.
So the other teams made us sweat, all the way until the end, So
Yeah.
so those are the best. Those are the best victories, is when you sweat a little bit,
Yeah.
That's when you really appreciate it. So
But you guys sweat a little bit, but you beat some sixth grade teams as a fifth grade team. So I mean, that was two of them.
yeah, yeah.
You got to the championship and finally played a fifth grade team. So
And then they were just throwing up some stuff, and it was going in. So that's what made me nervous about them, because
I hate those games, man.
Yeah,
Those are the games I hate the worst, man.
they threw up some 3-pointers, and them jokers went in and made it tight, and so they had us sweating, but we were able to pull it out. So. And my baby played good defense, so that's all I can, we'll work with her. I even called her trainers already and said, I called her trainers, I talked to her mama, and when I train her, we're going to work on that quick release. But thank you, Coach Fowler, for hosting a classy tournament as always. And for anyone that was there, man, it was just a wonderful vibe. It was a wonderful vibe. It was very rare, when no one would, whenever you get a group of people, there's always somebody who shows their hind parts, And really, I didn't really see any of that. So it's a really good group of people, and I think it's a reflection of the people who put it together. So thanks again, Coach Fowler. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for the love of the game. Taking them all to the hole. Playing for the honor road. And we running suicides. No squad will see us fold. Throw me an assist. You can miss me with the miss. Cross them like I'm holy. Dunking on them like I'm pissed. Taking it from 3 to pain. Watch me switch lanes. It's the next gen. AAU. We the new way. Putting on for all my ladies in the game. Going crazy. It's not about the fame. It's for the love of the game. 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 Yeah. Yeah. It's for the love of the game. Taking them all to the hole.